Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to today's Talking Tech. Thank you for joining us. I'm Army Veteran Dan Hunter, a communications specialist with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and your host of this series, Talking Tech. So wherever you are, take a seat, prop up your feet, enjoy today's discussion, and send out a tweet. Like, share, and comment throughout the show. I have an interview to do, so let's go. This monthly series gives VA experts an opportunity to share what they're doing to serve our nation's veterans. They'll discuss best practices, strategies, and techniques designed to enhance the veteran experience. VA uses ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. Today, we have Ms. Monica Rivera of the Veterans Benefits Administration, who will discuss how veterans can stay safe online and protect their VA benefits. Monica, thank you for joining us. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you and your organization does to serve our nation's veterans? And you are on mute. Thank you, Monica. Monica, you're still on mute.
All right. How about now? Can you guys hear me okay?
Excellent. Loud and clear for all to hear.
All right. You will think that after 3 years working from home, I will be an expert on how to unmute myself, but here we are. Thank you so much for having me, Dan. It's an honor to be here today talking about a topic that is very important for our nation's heroes and for our families, dependents, and public in general. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Monica Rivera. I am the chief for the Stakeholder Organizational Change Management Office with the Office of Benefit Delivery, Protection, and Remediation with the Veterans Benefit Administration. The Department of Veterans Affairs with the Office of Financial Management have this office, which is the first line of defense when it comes to protecting veterans' benefits. BVA works in collaboration with the Office of Inspector General, OIG, law enforcement, and other partners to protect veterans' benefits. VA is committed to warning the public about predatory entities by educating veterans, their families, and all partners about the types of fraudulent activity and tactics these entities are using.
Well, thank you for that. You talked about your organization, its structure, its relationships, and what the organization is doing. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the organization is doing with either technology and or the processes to protect veteran data and veteran information?
Absolutely. The Veterans Benefit Administration uses standardized processes based on industry practices to detect, remediate, and ultimately prevent the theft of veterans' benefit payments. If a case is investigated and determined to be fraud, BVA works to restore the benefits. BVA prepares outreach campaigns, materials to warn about veterans about benefits, on potential scams, and we use internal and external partnerships to share communication artifacts for dissemination. And at the same time, we support the Office of Inspector General and other law enforcement in their investigation and prosecution of bad actors.
Well, so you talked a little bit about what you're doing. Can you talk a little bit more about how you're using that technology to assist? I know you have a lot of smart people, you have a lot of great practices and great processes. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're using technology to support that mission?
Absolutely. Technology is central to the work that we're doing in the Veterans Benefit Administration, both from the perspective of modeling to identify and mitigate fraud, waste, and abuse, as well as the supporting the development and the delivery of communications to inform veterans about current benefit fraud strategies and ways in which they can protect themselves and obtain assistance if needed. Our team uses modern fraud prevention capabilities to make BBA a hostile operating space for scammers. We use standardized processes based on the best industry practices to detect, remediate, and again, ultimately prevent the theft of veterans' benefit payments. BBA also designs and executes fraud detection technologies. We deploy risk management strategies, and we work with artificial intelligence to detect fraudulent changes before the fraud occurs. BBA has made data-driven decisions by identifying vulnerabilities and collaborating to close some of those gaps in very critical areas, such as adjusting internal control, systems and processes to include multi-factor authentication, biometrics, voice authentication, and we're really helping to enhance our security protocols. We also collaborate with banking industry. We know that certain banks have been identified as having gaps in their security protocols or processes that make easy for scammers to use their systems to redirect funds. We, as I mentioned before, we also work directly with law enforcement agencies, and we provide detailed insight on identified fraud schemes, persons of interest, and we provide support to law enforcement on cases that they have identified and they have requested our assistance. And last but not least, we reissue stolen benefits to veterans and monitor their accounts and protect them from future changes. And I really want to stress this point because the industry practice, the time that this takes in the industry practice is about 40 days, less or more, to remediate the whole case and ensure that the individual that might have been a victim of fraud gets their money back. And the BA, we do that in 5 days, and in a lot of cases, and less time. So we are very proud of the work that we're doing to protect our veterans and to serve them as well.
Wow. Wow. That, I feel really, really good about that, being a veteran myself. The way that you're using technology, the way you're using your processes to help protect veteran information. That's very, very good to know. But can you tell us how you're getting the word out? Because there's a lot of veterans all around the country, all around the world. And how are you able to do things like use either electronic communication platforms, some people may call it social media, to help amplify the prevention message to protect veteran information and veteran data?
Thank you. That's one of my favorite questions. I'm talking about communications and how we're using the technology, electronic communications, and the strategies to help protect veterans. We're using electronic communication platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn to enable BA and the Veterans Benefit Administration to expand its reach to audiences who primarily operate online and might not rely on more traditional communication mediums such as newspapers and magazines. These platforms also allow us to create more interactive forums for discussion and provide a way to capture real-time feedback on the success of our message, as well as other concerns and questions that veterans might have. Our team collaborates with BBA's Office of Communication to increase our media presence and partner with both internal entities and external stakeholders to significantly increase education about fraud prevention. In fiscal year 22, we developed and executed 5 fraud prevention campaigns, and these were about awareness and protection. We conducted about 90 engagements, and these included participation on social media, news outlets, interviews, media tours, presentations, meetings with veteran service organizations, and other partners. And the success of all these efforts is reaching over 8.5 million veterans, their dependents, and this is directly the success of this campaign and how effective it has been is also directly attributed to the intense collaboration with our partners. And we're very grateful for that.
Wow. So you use social media a lot to get the word out, to reach those veterans at their telephone, at their phone. A lot of mobile information, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, all those things are available on a veteran's phone, on a mobile device. Do you use any other techniques to reach veterans? And you talked about something, it sounds like more forward leaning, using the mobile device, using social media. But what about the other methods? Are you able to use those methods to reach veterans, and have you?
Absolutely. We want to ensure that we're meeting veterans where they are, using the technologies that they are using. And we want to ensure that they're getting the message anywhere, everywhere, at any time. So our team employs a wide range of communication strategies to maximize the distribution of messages to veterans. This also includes publishing messages via the regular or traditional media, print media, to include newspapers, magazines. We also use platforms that our partners and other federal agencies have, and it's been very, very effective. In addition to that, we are developing radio public service announcements. We know that a lot of our veterans love the radio, so we're ensuring that our presence is there as well. We're sending emails, newsletters, and hard copy, because we also know that there are veterans that still like to have that touch of the communication. And again, we're employing social media strategies to not only communicate with the veterans, but also with their loved ones, their nieces, their nephews, their granddaughters, so they can also take an active participation in protecting the veterans. And last but not least, we also conduct live presentations, such as this one, and participate in different interviews and radio programs as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us and allowing us to help you get the word out about what you're doing to help protect veteran information. Now, we have a big organization. VA's huge, but what are you able to do with, or I'll put it like this, are you working with other organizations to help you get the word out, either in the government or other parts of the other organizations, to help you amplify that messaging?
Definitely, yes. By partnering with other agencies such as the Federal Trade Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and others, we are expanding the existing interagency agreements and memos of understanding, the famous MOUs. And so we can continue to expand the set of data available to help fraud detection and mitigation. From a communications perspective, interagency collaboration will enable the Veterans Benefit Administration to develop coordinated communication and leverage existing communication channels with partner agencies to further expand the reach of the message. And I definitely want to take advantage of this opportunity to thank both the Federal Trade Commission and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They have been wonderful partners. They have been sharing our messages. They have invited us to participate in the platforms, and they are definitely helping us spread the message about fraud awareness and protection and prevention.
Awesome. Awesome. So we talked about the communication. You talked about how you're doing it with social media, traditional media, how you're working with other agencies. But this is a moving train. Things are constantly changing. Can you talk to us about some of the challenges that you are dealing with right now and what you're looking at and how that plays into your plan of attack?
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, veterans are targets of many of the same types of fraud as the rest of society, and this includes mail, telephone, and online fraud. But I want to stress that the VA takes fraud allegations and the security of veterans' information and their benefits very seriously. VA is taking proactive measures to monitor veterans' benefit payments to protect and prevent fraudulent activity. When VA benefits fraud is reported or suspected, VA investigates the incident and immediately we initiate actions to protect the veteran's benefit. So there are procedures in place to ensure that veteran's account is protected and could not be accessed again by fraudsters or scammers. We report that incident to those that are responsible for the alleged fraud, such as the Office of Inspector General. And when applicable, if unfortunately the veteran might have lost benefits, we make the veteran whole again as quickly as possible. I want to mention some of the scams that are affecting the veteran community and just give you a little bit more information about these. One of the very first ones that we're seeing is payment redirect. And this happens when a scammer obtains the veteran's personally identifiable information, better known as PII, and uses that information to unlawfully access and gain control of their bank accounts. Once the scammer compromises the veteran's account information, they redirect the veteran's benefit payments to new accounts or to prepaid debit cards, and both of which the scammer will have control of. So then the veteran's PII is vulnerable to phishing attempts and a huge array of email scams. The next scam that we're seeing is pension poaching. Pension poaching, as we know it, is that veterans are using scams to target veterans who are 65 years or older, their families, their caregivers, and their survivors. In fact, pension poaching is becoming a chosen method to defraud older veterans. Pension poachers profit by falsely helping veterans artificially qualify for VA pension benefits. And the way that they do this is that they involve financial maneuvers, like advising the veteran to hide their money in trusts or annuity products. And that's the pension poachers present that information to them. And last but not least, romance and friendship scams. This is when scammers typically use fake online profiles to pose as potential romantic or friendly connections. And after gaining the trust of the victim, they request personal information, PII, monetary payment, or other compromising information. Veterans are already at risk because of the big amount of benefits that they receive, the monetary value associated with these benefits. And unfortunately, veterans might also be easily identifiable on social media and dating platforms because sometimes when they use their pictures, they might be in uniform, they might be providing their titles, and that's information that the veterans, the scammers are using to gain access to the veterans' accounts and information.
Wow, Monica, I didn't realize, I'm learning more and more every day. I didn't realize how many bad actors and how many bad actors schemes are out there. And I understand that there are predatory companies out there that take advantage of veterans and veteran information. Can you talk a little bit about those predatory companies? What are they, and how do they operate? If you can give us some insight into how they do their business.
Absolutely. VA is aware of predatory entities that are targeting veterans to multiple communication avenues. Predatory actions have been identified through aggressive email, web advertisements, individual contacting veterans through text to phone calls with misleading information and egregious contracts. In many cases, these companies or individuals are not offering upfront fees to help veterans obtain the benefits associated. For example, a lot of folks have already learned about PACT Act and the new presumptive conditions. So they will offer services, no upfront fees, and they offer services that are related to those presumptive conditions, specifically tied to PACT Act. And instead they are charging ridiculous fees on the back end once the veteran receives the benefit payments. Multiple veterans have reported that there are unaccredited companies contacting them to offer assistance in obtaining the presumptive conditions that they might qualify for a fee or for 40% of the
Mhm.
retroactive payment or 40% of the first year of the benefit payments of the veteran.
Wow. It's really sad that we have bad actors going after veterans. But with that being said, and anybody that's been through any military training, you always got to protect yourself. You want to protect your colleagues. Can you talk a little bit about what tools, techniques, or any other concepts that a veteran can use to help protect themselves? This is very, very important to the veteran, very important to the families, very important to the caregivers. Can you give some insight into how veterans can protect themselves?
Absolutely. Veterans are being advised to always be alert and vigilant against fraud. Um, Identity theft is not always committed by strangers, so be very careful with the folks that you share your information with. Do frequently change and maintain strong passwords and never use personally identifiable information on those passwords. Do be do be vigilant if someone offers to hide or rearrange assets for you to qualify for VA pension. That's what we talk about pension poaching. If we find out about the fraud, veterans might be required to pay the benefits or the monetary value back to the government. And there might be other implications. Don't share your personal information or other VA login credentials with anyone, like your access to va.gov or e-benefits. Do not share that information with anyone. Do not sign a blank form that will be for someone else to complete later. Always make sure that you review all the forms, all documents that you sign. Make sure that you read the fine line. Don't deposit VA benefits directly into a family member or a caregiver's account unless the person is a court appointed or a VA accredited fiduciary. Do be cautious of telephone numbers on callers' IDs. Scammers can sometimes change their phone numbers and to make a call appear to come from a different person or a place.
You, you mentioned a term that everybody may not have heard, and it's tied to assisting with benefits. You use the term accredited, an accredited uh, representative. Can you talk a little bit about that, what that means, and why a veteran should use them?
Yes. So accredited companies are veteran advocates that provide value for veterans. They do play an essential role in ensuring veterans and their families have the support and assistance that they need after the military service. They advocate for veterans and their dependents on a national, state, and county level. Accredited representatives serve as trusted advisors to veterans and have a lot of familiarity with veterans' needs. And we definitely work hand in hand with them. So they are also a multiplier force for all the work that the VA is doing.
You're going over a lot of information today. You're talking about how you're protecting that veteran information. You're talking about how you're getting the word out to veterans about how you're helping to protect that information. You're giving tips on what veterans should do to protect themselves, who to stay away from, and who to use. But can you also provide some guidance and counsel for what veterans should do if they get hit with a fraudulent actor uh, doing some bad things to their accounts? Can you talk a little bit about what a veteran can do, who they need to go to, who they need to talk to?
Yes, absolutely. First and foremost, if to report suspected fraudulent activity, we want to urge veterans and the entire community to contact VA's Office of Inspector General and you can find their hotline information on the web. The address is www.va.gov/OIG/hotline. Again, that address is www.va.gov/OIG/hotline. In addition to that, veterans who suspect that they might be victims of VA disability benefits fraud should contact us at 1-800-827-1000 as quickly as possible. Again, that number is 1-800-827-1000. Now, if an entity is projecting misinformation or has questionable business practices regarding VA entitlements, we want the community to please file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. Again, this is if an entity is projecting misinformation. And you can access the Federal Trade Commission webpage, and it will be really easy to file this complaint. And last but not least, I wanted to go back to the accreditation, accredited agents or representatives. The Office of General Counsel has the search engine in which veterans, family members in the community, you can go on that search engine, enter the name of that representative or organization, and you can confirm if they are accredited with the VA. And you can access that search engine by accessing our VA platform, www.va.gov/OGC. And once you are in the OGC page, you will see that search engine.
Well, thank you, Monica. We covered a lot of territory in a very short period of time, but the information you share can protect a veteran from having long-term bad things happening to them, negative things happening to them that'll affect their livelihood, can affect their credit, affect their bank account. So what you and your team is doing is great work. So before we go any further, I want to thank you for what you're doing. I greatly appreciate it. And I know that the veteran community greatly appreciates it. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
With that said, just want to check and see if we have anything that came in from the audience. Any questions? We do have a question here, and that question is, my parent is an aging veteran in his 80s. He is also very lonely, and I'm afraid he'll be targeted by a romance scam. How can I help him?
We definitely want to provide that veteran information on how he can protect himself if he's going to be navigating the web, maybe making friends online. Again, we want to make sure that he's not sharing information, personal identifiable information. Unfortunately, one of the dangers of romance and friendship scam is that unfortunately the victim really falls in love or really believes that it's having a real relationship with another human being, and in reality they're being taken advantage of. So we definitely want to warn those veterans about these practices, and definitely stress that they should not share any personally identifiable information, and they should not share any money or not send any money, nothing like that.
So it's critical not to share. And I know that veterans, and as people get older, like to talk with people, like to share their information, like to share their life story. So it's very critical that those veterans protect themselves. And it goes back to what people may have heard when they were in kindergarten or elementary school. Don't talk to strangers.
That is correct.
So do another check to see if there are any other questions that came in from our audience. And we do have another one. That question is there an initiative to increase punitive measures against companies that defraud veterans?
This is an excellent question, and this is something that is definitely being right now being revised by the Senate, by Congress, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's if I am understanding correctly, there is a bill that is being revised and reviewed to see if we can definitely do something about these predatory companies or companies that are unaccredited, that they are charging veterans with the ridiculous fees that we talked previously today.
Well, Monica, thank you so much. We're running out of time, and I greatly appreciate your time that you're sharing with us and spending with us, giving us that information about how we are as a family collaborating. We're working together to get the word out about how we can ultimately protect the veteran and what a veteran should do if they have been victims of fraud. Constant collaboration is key. Teamwork makes the dream work. Here talking, and again, for the audience, thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate you and your time. Here at VA, Talking Tech, we're talking about how we use ones and zeros to help our nation's heroes. Have a great VA day.